Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you the Legends Basketball Association, the LBA, as I've been calling it. Um, we did it. Well, I tried to do it on 2K16. Didn't really work out. I did it on 2K15. 2K17 is free to play for the past weekend. I'm hopefully getting it here soon, full time. But in the time being, I was able to download it and play it. And so here we go. We'll actually pull this back all the way to here. All right, so we got the 76ers. We're going to go through the roster right now, and we're going to do a game right afterwards. And that game is the Lakers and Cavaliers. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. Both teams are expected to be very, very good. Looking forward to it, and I hope you guys will enjoy that. So without further ado, let's go through the rosters. Philadelphia actually ended up picking 36th out of 36. We did do expansion teams this time around, as it is a new feature. I figured I'd give it a shot and see how it goes. So this is Philadelphia's roster, all 13 of their players. It's all right. Here is the first of our expansion teams, the Las Vegas Aces. I saw a design for a team. I liked it. Big credit to whoever made this design. I thank you for putting it out there for download. It's great to see people that will allow other people to download it. I'm thankful for you guys letting us do this, essentially. So as you look through their roster, I kind of went with some eccentric talent there with Dennis Rodman. I figured he'd fit right in LA. Or Las Vegas, not LA, Las Vegas. So it made sense to me. Bucks look like they're going to be a decent team. The team that you're going to probably have to look out for is the now second team that is in Oklahoma. It is not really an expansion team. More so moved the Grizzlies to Oklahoma City to become the second Oklahoma team. We lost Memphis and New Orleans. They have both been moved around. As you can see, the Bulls get their man, Michael Jordan. It was just necessary that he play there. They look good too. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. That entire division, the Central Division in the East, is going to be one hell of a division. Here's the Cavaliers roster. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain and Scottie Pippen, and you add in Blake Griffin, Penny Hardaway. They're looking like a top level talent team as well. You move on to the Celtics out in the Atlantic. They only have one 90 overall player, but it is Bill Walton. Then you get Kyrie, Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan. So they're kind of stacked in that regards. They're stacked with some skill players. And you move to the Clippers, you get Bill Russell, Derrick Rose, Ron Harper, Lamar Odom. And with each team, you see that there's kind of a pattern with their players. Now here's where I wasn't thinking. I meant to draft him to the Cavaliers. Instead, he ends up in Pittsburgh. So you get LeBron James in Pittsburgh with Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry Lucas, John Wall, Kyle Korver, and Brandon Ingram. So they're a team to look out for, and they're in the Central with the Bulls and the Cavaliers and the Pistons and the Pacers and Cincinnati, the Lions. They're the other expansion team in that division. So it'll be interesting to see there what happens in that division, because really that division is anybody's. I couldn't tell you right now who's going to win that division. That division is probably going to be the most hotly contested division in this season, I personally think. You move on, you get the Hornets. Hornets look like a decent team as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jazz, they're now in the Southwest. I'll show you guys the standings as soon as we're done with the rosters. The Kings actually picked second overall. What I did for the draft was I picked two teams, and I basically did kind of like a rivals deal, and the teams were picking. Basically, what I ended up doing was I picked players based on who the previous team picked, so that there's kind of a rivalry there with not only the locations, not only the teams, but the fact that the players are so similar in the way that they're playing the game, and everything's built to stop the other team. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch some of these teams. Oklahoma City is going to be fantastic to watch, I think. And it might look a little familiar. That is my team, but as you probably know if you watched any of my other videos, I'm a Lakers fan. So you'll probably notice some familiar faces on that team. You get Patrick Ewing, Gilbert Arenas, Rasheed Wallace, Monte Ellis. So the Knicks look decent in the Atlantic. The little Montreal, who is also in the Atlantic, look fantastic. Actually got two Spurs, Manu and Tim Duncan. You add Chris Paul into the mix. So they're looking fantastic. The Lake Show, as you know, I'm still going to be rooting them on. They have some talent here too. Magic Johnson, James Worthy, James Harden, Chris Webber, Rasheed Wallace, Joakim Noah, Steven Adams, and D'Angelo Russell. So they're looking good as well. As you notice, no Kobe, no Shaq, none of that. Cincinnati. Here's another team in the Central that is throwing a wrench in this. I mean, seriously, they're going to be good as well. Larry Bird, Dwight Howard, Tim Hardaway, LaMarcus Aldridge. The list goes on and on of the teams that are in this Central Division that they could win it. You have Dwayne Wade, Rick Barry. The Magic probably are going to be an average team, honestly. No real surprise there, honestly. Mavericks look like a decent team as well. You move on to the Nets, who look pretty good coming out of the Atlantic. I think, honestly, the East is now going to become the tougher conference. The Tampa Bay Nighthawks, new team in Florida, third team. Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, Andre Drummond. They actually picked second to last, so they were picking 35th out of 36, so it didn't really go great for them. That's besides the point. Now you move on to the Nightmare. This is my team from Oklahoma: Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, Horace Grant. Now right there, you're probably saying, what is this, 2004 with the Lakers? Is this the Lakers right then and there at the end of Kobe and Shaq, that whole team? Well, a little bit. That's kind of what I was thinking. And you get Buddy Hield in here, out of Oklahoma University, Sooners, staying in Oklahoma. He's probably happy with that. You get Denzel Valentine, nice young talent. Shane Larkin for me, that's huge. I like Shane coming out of Miami. Brendan Jennings, Dante Exum. So Nightmare coming out of the Southwest are probably the favorites, I would have to think. Their rival, of course, is going to be up there. They're going to be a threat too. Nuggets look decent. No lie there. Nuggets look like a decent team. Pacers, another team in that Central Division, and I think they're really iffy on whether or not they can win the championship. I mean, you look at the players that they have, and they're another team that it's just like, wow, they could win this division. And here's the other one. You move to the Pistons of Detroit, and the Central Division is just completely up for grabs. I mean, every team in that Central Division can win. Every single one of them. They can win any given night. The Raptors look fantastic coming out of the Atlantic. They probably might be the favorites there. I'd honestly say if I had to pick a favorite in the Central Division, it would be Pittsburgh because they do have LeBron James and whatnot. Although the Bulls do make that big argument having Michael Jordan, so there's a lot there. Anybody that knows me is probably saying, "Oh, well, you're only picking Pittsburgh because that's your team for everything," and you're right. You're right on that one. They are my team for everything, but I definitely think that their talent level is fantastic. Vancouver Ravens, they look fantastic as well. coming out of that Northwest. We move on to the Rockets, who look decent. I'm going to say decent. I don't really think they're going to challenge for the Southwest title. Now, here's the team. I love this logo. I don't know who did it. I saw it. This instantly became my favorite logo ever for the Seattle Sonics, even though I know that it's not real. But I would love to see something like this if the Sonics returned, rather than that green and yellow kind of color, which I know is their colors, but or was. But this white kind of color with Boeing as the arena sponsor, coming out of Seattle with the plane on there, with the Space Needle, everything about this logo just screams Seattle, and it looks so good. And I want to see this team succeed. I really do, and I think they're going to. They look fantastic on paper. The Spurs, they're another team in that Southwest that is kind of looking decent. But with Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, and Jimmy Butler, I think they might have three players that can put them over the top, and possibly win that division. I think they can challenge in that division. The Suns, they're going to be tough to win their division. I believe they're in the Southwest now. Here's the team that I think is going to give Oklahoma the run for their money in that Southwest. Because you look at this team, and they're specifically built to match up and play against the Nightmare. And that's the way I did it, because I want that rivalry to grow and build and become one of the best rivalries in the country. You got two teams in the same city once again, and I think Oklahoma's big enough to handle it. Oklahoma City's obviously going to be the team of Oklahoma City, but the Nightmare become the rest of Oklahoma's team. You get the fans from out west and out east in Tulsa, out west in the Panhandle. They're all rooting for the Nightmare, and then Oklahoma City's they're rooting for the Thunder, and it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, Yao Ming going up against Shaq. Those games were always fantastic. I can't wait to see it again. It is going to be amazing to watch these games as they play out and as they go along. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, everything's good. All right, well, let's continue on. You get Timberwolves out in the Northwest Division, I believe it is. Yeah, they look good as well. They actually look really good. I mean, those three right there, Nowitzki, Wilkins, Reed, definitely look fantastic. Then you get the Trailblazers in here, and they're looking kind of average, honestly. It'll be interesting. Then you get the Warriors. Okay, the Warriors out in the Pacific are going to be a threat to any team in that division. The Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings who are specifically built to beat Golden State. That was the entire idea, was the Kings would be the Warriors' rival. It's going to look weird because nobody's well for a long time, but it's going to happen. But you look at this team, and it is the partially, it's kind of a combination of 2016, 2015 team, because I don't really know the full roster. I just know the five guys for the Warriors: Durant, Curry, Thompson, Green, Iguodala. So I went and added Bogut and Barnes. But they also have some talent here. I'm not going to argue this. They have some real talent. They're going to be a threat in that division, and a threat to win the title. I think they'll be a threat for a long time to come, as will the Wizards. That's it for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings by divisions. Out here in the Pacific, you get the Aces, Clippers, Jazz, Kings, Lakers, and Warriors. I know what you're probably saying. Why are the Jazz here? Well, the Jazz are further north than Phoenix, and it just kind of made sense to move them here, especially with what I had to do to kind of put this into perspective. I realized that, Utah's pretty not really on the Pacific, but they provide a good rivalry for the Aces. Utah and the Aces. Then you have the Clippers and Lakers rivalry, and the Kings and Warriors. So that'll be interesting to see, honestly, I think. Let's move to the Atlantic. You get 76ers. 76ers really kind of don't really have a rival in this one. I guess if you had to give them one, it would probably be Boston. I kind of matched them up more so with the Tampa Bay Nighthawks. Wasn't really thinking there, but Boston and Knicks was kind of what I was thinking there. So I guess maybe you'd match up the 76ers with the Nets because they're about the only team that doesn't have a rival in this division too. And then you get Montreal and Toronto. Now that's going to be interesting to see the two East Coast Canadian teams going at it. Then you move to the Central, and the Central becomes that division where it's anybody's division, like I said. And you get Chicago and Cleveland are rivals. Then you get Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are rivals, and Indiana and Detroit are the rivals here. So those 6 teams, anybody can win it. It's going to be so interesting. I think that division becomes the best in this division, and we will probably see a lot of games involving teams from this division. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. This division is going to become the division to watch, I think. Down in the Southeast, you get Orlando and Miami, Charlotte and Washington, and I guess Tampa and Atlanta would be your rivals there. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with these teams. Like I said, none of the teams are really fantastic. I think this division is up for grabs, honestly. Although I do think that maybe Tampa holds a small advantage. As we move on, you get the Dallas Mavericks and who did they match up with? I guess Phoenix was who they matched up with. Yeah, they matched up with Phoenix. And then you get San Antonio and Houston. And then, of course, the Nightmare from Oklahoma against the Thunder from Oklahoma. So that'll be interesting to see between those two teams. I can't wait for their first matchup. In fact, that game will definitely be broadcasted. Then you get Milwaukee and Minnesota was that matchup. Seattle and Vancouver, obviously. I mean, come on, they even have the same colors, almost. And then Denver and Portland. So that's how we're looking for that. Let's actually take a look real quick at some of the schedule. So these are the games that are being played in this first day. This is the game we're watching right here, Lakers Cavaliers. That'll be interesting to see, no doubt. As we move on to the first games of the next day, looking at who we might watch. I don't know on this one. It's all good games. I don't want to watch Cleveland twice in a row, even though it involves Vegas. That could be a good game to watch. That's another good game. That game's out of the question. You know what? We're going to watch Seattle. We're going to watch Seattle take on Dallas in their first game back. I definitely think that's the game to see there, Seattle and Dallas. Now, real quick, I just want to take a look at this and see when. There you go, November 18th. November 18th, you will see Nightmare and Thunder, and that will be a great game. I also want to see, because I want to see when we can first put them on. I guess probably that game. We could see them either or against the Mavericks. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us for this broadcast of basically bringing you guys the rosters is all. We'll get you the broadcast of the Lakers Cavaliers here in just a moment. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope you guys are really enjoying this series.